8.1 Understanding Angles. Guys, let's just take a moment. We are in our final unit. Woot woot! You guys have done a really great job. So let's keep our wits about us in this last unit. So you thought you knew everything about angles. Degrees, right? It's always measured in degrees. Well, we're going to throw something at you here. We're going to talk about radians. Radians is literally the measure of one radius around a circle. So if you look at this one right here, you see this one radian. Okay, so this one radius here. Approximately from here to here, if we would say make this out of yarn, okay, or something flexible, and place it around the outside of the circle, around the curve, this right here is the 1 radian. So essentially what 1 radian is the angle that it makes when you have one endpoint here and you go around, you place 1 radius around a curve and put the endpoint here. That is 1 radian. Now here's the crazy thing about, here's a crazy thing about radians. If you place a radius here and all the way around the circle, we have 2 pi radians. How crazy is that? So 2 pi is something like 6.28 . So let's just visualize it here. If this is 1 radian, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a bit. Okay, how cool is that? Then that was just a very rough estimate. I'm sure that if you would take any circle, calculate its measure its radius and place it around here, you'll find that 6 and a bit radii will fit all the way through the circle. So radians, 1 radian is the angle that is made when 1 radius is placed around the circumference, so the outside, circle. So we know that 2 pi radians is the same thing as all the way around. Okay, so 2 pi radians is 360 degrees. So that means that 1 radian is, I'm going to divide both sides by 2 pi, is 360 divided by 2 pi, or we can say 180 over over pi. And that means that 1 degree is 2 pi over 360. So that means pi over 180. So that means if you are given radians and you want to convert into degrees, so radians to degrees, multiply the radians by 180 over pi. And if you're given degrees and you want radians, multiply everything by pi over 180. So let's just apply what we know here. Example number 1, expressing 1 radian in degrees. The measure of angle PCA is 1 radian. So that means that if we calculate or we measure out that 1 radian and place it around the circumference, that is the angle that is made. So calculate the measure of angle PCA in degrees. I'm going to do it the long way first. So I'm going to say 2 pi radians equals the whole circle. So that means 360 degrees. So if I want to get 1 radian, okay, if I want to get 1 radian, we're dividing both sides by 2 pi. 2 pi divided by 2 pi is 1 radian, equals 360 over 2 pi, which is 180 over pi. And when I do 180 divided by pi, which is 3.14, but I want you to use the full decimal, we get 57.3 degrees. Now here's the thing, if I wanted to use the quick way, I would just look here, okay, radians to degrees, I multiply by 180 over pi. So I'm going to say 1 radian equals 1 times 180 over pi. We're going to get 57.3 degrees. So this is the slower way here, but this is the quicker way. I'm just going to keep on going here. Example number 2. Estimating the values of angles in radian measure. So 90 degrees, and then 45 degrees, 150 degrees, 240 degrees, 690 degrees. Whew, it's over 360. So A, we are given degrees and we want to get to radians. So what am I going to do? Degrees to radians, we're going to multiply by pi over 180. So multiply by pi over 180. So if I get to 90 degrees times pi over 180, it's going to be pi over 2. Why? Because we have 90 pi over 180. 90 is half of 180, so it's going to be pi over 2, because 90 goes into 180 twice. So when I do this, it's 3.1415 divided by 2. It's going to be approximately 1.6 radians. Same thing with B. 45 degrees times pi over 180 equals, it's going to equal 0.785 radians. The way that I plunked that into my calculator, I said 45 divided by 180 times pi. You can just go pi divided by 180 times 45, whatever floats your boat. And remember, we're going to 3 decimal places. C, same thing, 150 degrees times pi over 180 equals 150 times pi divided by 180. We get 2.618 radians. So that means in an angle that is 150 degrees, if we were to cut out bits of radians in yarn and place it around the circumference of the circle, it should go, 150 is the same thing as placing 2.618 radii around the circle. Last but not least, D, 240 degrees times pi over 180. 240 times pi divided by 180 equals 4.189 radians. And I think I said last but not least, but this is truly last but not least, E. 690 times pi over 180 equals 12.043 radians. Just going to write that a little bit more clear because this is a new word for you. Boop, 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 boop. And you know what? I'm just going to go into example number 3 because it's really quick. Comparing angles in radian measure. Determine which angle is larger, 3 pi in radians or 8 radians. So embedded in this one right here, we have 3 pi. So in order for us to really know what that is, I'm literally going to say 3 times pi in my calculator. 3 times pi. And you guys can do the same. I'm noticing that it's 9.425 radians. When I compare that with 8 radians, I can clearly see that 3 pi radians is bigger. Don't be fooled, okay, if I say 3 pi radians, because oftentimes measurements of radians will be in pi, or will have pi embedded into them, just because it's 2 pi radians is one circle. So essentially 3 pi radians is going to be going around the circle and then another half of a circle. 3 pi radians is bigger than 8 radians. So for your homework tonight, I want you to do page 519, number 2, 5, 6, 8, and 10.